Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Jay's Learning School. It's time for another lesson here on the channel. I want to thank you so much for taking time to watch today's lesson. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe as well as turn on that notification bell. So, on today's lesson, we're going to learn about Thanksgiving food and activity vocabulary words. So, Thanksgiving is a holiday here in the United States that is celebrated by millions and millions of people. And the premise is simply to take time to give thanks for what you have in your life, what God has done for you, things you've accomplished. And it's usually celebrated here in this country with a large meal with family, sometimes friends. And so it's one of my favorite holidays. It gives me an opportunity to reflect on the things that God has helped me to accomplish, things that I've overcome, as well as get to spend just a few moments or hours with various friends and family. So let's get into it. Though there are different cultures here in the United States, you have some people that don't celebrate Thanksgiving because of some of the historics consider Native Americans, how land was stolen, and so forth. So some people don't celebrate it here in this country, but it is a moment to where it can be something that everyone just gives thanks for life, health, strength, and so forth. So let's look at some of the foods and activities that take place in Thanksgiving. The meat is turkey. Turkey is something that a lot of people uh, eat on Thanksgiving. Here in this country, it's usually uh, baked in an oven. Okay, but the turkey being baked is not the only way that it can be eaten. Turkey can be fried, and I'm telling you, fried turkey is so good. Many complaints people have about eating turkey on Thanksgiving is that some people overcook it in the oven and it gets dried out. So turkey sales definitely go up. Turkeys weigh anywhere from 20 to 60 pounds, and you have to cook them for hours. I like the fried turkey. You can have a smoked turkey. You can put it in a smoker. You add your seasoning, and it's just good to eat. And the wonderful thing about turkey, usually it never gets eaten all on Thanksgiving, and you have a lot left over that you can use for lunch, meat, and so forth throughout the following week. Stuffing. Okay, in this country, you have stuffing. Now, I came up on stuffing. Stuffing is just simply like bread, seasoned breadcrumbs that's usually stuffed inside of the turkey. Okay, now some people don't put it in the turkey anymore. They'll put it in a dish. But what I learned is that there's a difference between stuffing and dressing. Okay, dressing is also um, like a casserole, and it has, oh my goodness, casserole that has hen. Some people put chicken. Some people put turkey, but it has different seasons. I can't describe it, but dressing is way better. Stuffing is usually something that comes out of a box. But dressing is where it's at. I'm just gonna say black folk usually eat dressing. White folk usually eat stuffing. All right, cranberry sauce. Now, there are a lot of people that don't like cranberry sauce. Of course, you have cranberry sauce that comes in the can and it's like in a gelatin state, and you just pour it out and you cut it up like you see here in the picture. You have some people that actually eat just cranberries. So, cranberry sauce usually goes good with the turkey, the dressing, the stuffing, and it's also a very popular dish that is served on Thanksgiving. Bread rolls, okay? Bread rolls. So you have various types of bread that people use. You have just the regular rolls, you have what's called Hawaiian rolls, and you have some people they do cornbread. Cornbread is a meal that's made with milk or buttermilk and butter. So it just depends on what the person wants to have. Bread is usually something that people can just snatch right off of the counter shelf, but cornbread usually takes a long time to make, or people will make their own biscuits. Okay, let me know if you prefer, if you're a bread eater, do you do cornbread, rolls, or biscuits? Okay, my favorite dish during Thanksgiving or non-Thanksgiving events is macaroni and cheese. Okay. Now, of course, you have the box macaroni and cheese that a lot of people do. I came up on box macaroni and cheese. My grandmother made homemade mac and cheese, and she made it with sharp cheese. And so when you ate it, you had to go to the restroom and you were usually constipated. But macaroni and cheese is one of my favorite dishes. People make it different. People have different recipes, but you just cannot go wrong with a great mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is the short form way of saying macaroni and cheese. So people will just say mac and cheese. Okay. Also on Thanksgiving, you have collard greens. Yes, collard greens. I'm not a collard green eater, but usually around Thanksgiving, I'll get some if the person knows how to cook them. Okay. Now I'm just gonna say this: a lot of cultures don't use seasoning. Black folk use seasoning. So you see here in the collard greens, it has some meat in there. Most of the time, to give it flavor, people will put pieces of pork, ham hock, or bacon sometimes in the collards when they're cooking them, so it can give them a seasoned good taste. Then again, some people just go straight to the can. They have collard greens in the can that's already pre-seasoned and they dump them in there. Then you have some people that go and get frozen collard greens out the frozen food section and they cook them. But you cannot go wrong. You got to have fresh collards. They sell them in bundles here in this country. They're wrapped in a rubber band. You can get them from anywhere from $2 to $4 a bundle. And you put them in a pot and you boil them and put your meat in there. Oh, and it's just wonderful. So collard greens are definitely good and they're healthy. Okay. Green beans is another dish. Again, some people will go to the can and get the green beans. Some people go to the frozen food section and get a green beans, but you can't beat uh, fresh green beans. If you can find some during this time of the year and you just pop those ends off uh, and you add your seasoning. Again, some people add a meat to it while it's boiling to give it flavor. Everyone does it different. You can't go wrong with salt, maybe a little pepper or pepper and a little salt. Try to stay away from salt in my dishes. Green beans. Now, I'm not a fan of it, but some people do what's called a green bean casserole. Okay, green bean casserole, and I don't usually like it. You know, it's not something I like, but a lot of people like it. It's a very popular dish. Pumpkin pie. Okay, pumpkin pie is not popular with black folk. Not that I've met. I haven't met anybody that likes pumpkin pie. That's of color, but usually pumpkin pie is a popular dish, and it's made straight with pumpkin. I think with cinnamon and nutmeg and some other things. But you see people have pumpkin pie. I forgot to put on here pecan pies, cakes, red velvet cakes. There's just so many different cakes, pound cakes, and they're usually homemade, not the things that you get out of the box. These are homemade dishes, okay? So pumpkin pie is a dish that many people make. Now, I will say I don't like pumpkin pie, but I love pumpkin seeds. Okay, roasted pumpkin seeds. Oh my gosh, you get those pumpkin seeds, put salt on them, put them in the oven. That's some good eating. That's some good eating. Now, what is popular is sweet potato pie. Sweet potato pie, also called custard. Okay, some people call it custard. So, sweet potato pie is a dessert people use very frequently on Thanksgiving. They also have a sweet potato casserole, but normally it's sweet potato pie or sweet potato custard is what they call it. And some people put pecans on top or whipped cream on top, but normally it's just a plain pie. Okay. Squash casserole. I like squash casserole. Squash casserole is usually squash cut up with cheese. People will put pepper, maybe some other type seasonings, and of course, onions. It's in a bowl and it's placed in the oven. It's baked, and they'll put breadcrumbs on top in order to give it a crust on the top, and it's just really good. Okay, it's like one of those macaroni and cheese or mac and cheese dishes. It's just something you gotta have uh, on Thanksgiving. Gravy, gravy, gravy is also a sauce that's poured over the dressing, the stuffing, the turkey. Gravy, and it's usually flour mixed with salt, pepper. They have gravy packs here in this country that you can just make, just follow direction, usually add water, and it comes to a simmer. You have brown gravy, you have white gravy. You have some people, they put meat or sausage in their gravy. Okay. So gravy is a dish. I'm not a gravy person. I usually like mine without gravy because most people, their gravy is watery. I don't like it. Okay. Some people put egg in their gravy. Yeah. They put chopped egg in the gravy. Corn. Corn is another uh, dish that is served during Thanksgiving. You have corn on the cob, as you see here in the picture, or you'll have just loose corn. Usually it's just salt, pepper, butter. Different people make it different ways. Now, most people, or some people that have a Hispanic heritage, they grill their corn. They have this type of salt that they put on it, and they put mayonnaise on it. So it's just different strokes for different folks. I like regular corn. When I was young, corn on the cob was good for me. But now that I'm older, I prefer just the loose corn. But corn is a great dish to have during Thanksgiving. Ham. Ham is another meat that people eat during Thanksgiving, basically a piece of pork. I don't eat ham, and people love it during Thanksgiving, and they'll usually have both ham, turkey. I like lamb. Some people do duck, but this is a ham. Okay, mashed potatoes, another starch. You see, people get full on Thanksgiving, so mashed potatoes. It is that just mashed potatoes. That's a dish on Thanksgiving. Now, some of the activities that take place during Thanksgiving, as I said earlier, a lot of family time. Okay, you'll go to your immediate parents' house, then you may go to your grandparents' house, and then you may go to a cousin's house, then you may go to a friend's house. And the wonderful thing about it, each house that you go to, you get a plate. You get a meal and you take the meal with you, and you enjoy that throughout the week or later that night. So you could actually leave the house and come back home with 4 or 5 different take home plates. Okay. Especially if you go places where people can cook. Another activity that people do during Thanksgiving here in the United States is football games. Okay. Football games are usually played from about 12 o'clock all the way till 11 o'clock at night. Each game will last probably 3 hours. Is usually played by the National Football League or the NFL, and they may have a college game on, but it's usually Thanksgiving here in the United States is a tradition shared by the NFL, and so they'll run like 3 games throughout the day. Okay, and if there's any sports going on, it's usually football that people are watching. Okay, the itis. You may not be familiar with the itis, depending on where you're from, but the itis is a term that people use to describe being sleepy after they have gotten full. So usually on Thanksgiving, folk catch the itis. They go in there and they eat their turkey, their ham, their stuffing, their dressing, their mac and cheese, and their dessert. And then next thing you know, they're sleepy. We call that the itis. Have you ever caught the itis? Let me know down in the description. Now, during Thanksgiving, also, families and friends usually get together and it gets very competitive. Okay. You have games that are being played. Now, amongst Black families, a lot of time you have card games like spades, Uno. Sometimes they'll break out a board game like Monopoly. And some of my Caucasian friends or white friends over the years, they do the same thing, Monopoly, or they may play gestures where they're trying to get the family together and just spend family time. They have this other game now that's pretty popular in the States where you throw bean bags in little holes. I forget what it's called, but that's a popular game. But again, like I said earlier, Thanksgiving is a time where families come together and they just spend time together, eating, fellowshipping, talking, giving thanks, and also taking pictures. I didn't put that on here, but Thanksgiving is a time to where you see a lot of people take pictures together to have memories of spending time with one another. So, thank you so much for watching today's lesson here on the channel. Let me know, do you celebrate Thanksgiving in your country with your family? How do you celebrate it? Let me know down in the description. What do you eat? What are some of your favorite dishes? How do you celebrate? Or is there a time or holiday in your country where it may not be called Thanksgiving, but is similar to Thanksgiving here in America? Let me know down in the comments. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe and like the video if you learned something. Join me on my next video. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a blessed one. See you next time.